Folks, I'm going to get to all of my many thoughts on what the heck happened last night. But first, today is September 11th, and today marks the 23rd anniversary of the radical Islamic terror attack on our great nation. In all of the debate and election coverage, we cannot forget about the thousands of Americans who lost their lives on that day in sense, or the service and sacrifices made by our law enforcement and first responders. Today and every day, we honor those who selflessly serve our nation. And for over 2 decades, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been there for our fallen first responders, military veterans, and their families. If a spouse dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty, the foundation will provide the surviving family members with a mortgage-free home. They've provided over 1,200 mortgage homes, and with ones being announced almost daily. And now they have promised to eradicate homelessness amongst the veteran population. Learn more about the foundation's mission, impact, and how you can help support our nation's heroes. Visit T2T.org. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Last night was rough. It was an ABC News ambush, no doubt about it, but we probably could have predicted that one. They chummed the waters for Donald Trump, and he didn't just take the bait. He ate the hook, the line, the sinker, and maybe the whole damn boat, and it will cost him. Kamala had a good night in that she remembered all of her lines. The act was acting, that's for sure. Now, you may have missed it due to the moderators conveniently hopping over it to make time for their Trump ambush, but Kamala didn't actually give us any justification for her many policy flip-flops, and I believe that was very much on purpose. Kamala won't tell us why she's changed because she hasn't, and she won't go on the record and give us any information about that because she's leaving herself plenty of room to return to her radical values if elected. Trump had such an opportunity to highlight that, but his ego got the better of him because he, like Miley Cyrus, cannot be tamed. And maybe that's why we love him, but that attribute did not help him last night at all. ABC gave us exactly one question on the economy. The most important issue got one question, and Kamala didn't answer it. As for immigration, not one question on how Kamala plans to provide for the 10 million plus she's let in. Not one question on if she plans to extend housing assistance, childcare assistance, healthcare, or even sex changes for her precious illegals. Just one of those unearned benefits afforded to the millions she's let in would bankrupt America. Also, a lot of time on abortion and women's rights, but not one single question on the Rainbow Mafia trans hijacking of women's sports. Donald Trump lost the debate last night, but so did the American people who learned absolutely nothing about Kamala's radical plan for America. And what a shame. Joining me now with his very honest take is host of the Officer Tatum Show, Brandon Tatum. Brandon, we got to be honest. What did you think about last night?
It was horrifying. I'm just going to be honest about Donald Trump's performance. And then I'm going to go point by point. I think Kamala Harris, she prepared well. I don't know if they gave her the questions beforehand. I've never seen her give an articulable response to anything. So I kind of question that. But Donald Trump didn't prepare. That's like the Tennessee Titans losing to or barely beating a high school football team. It's not a plus for Donald Trump's side. He did not prepare. The debate should have been over after the first question. When they asked her, are you better off now than 3 years ago when her and Joe Biden took office? Donald Trump should have, after she didn't answer the question, Donald Trump should have said, no. Give her my time. Answer the question to the American people. I'll wait. And when she don't have an answer, because we know she does not, all he had to do is say debate over. What are we talking about? Why are we here? She know that she's a liar. The country was better under me. Donald Trump would have won. He did not prepare. I don't know if he thought he was going to a rally or what, but he did not prepare. He had so much ammunition to go after her. He could have went after the moderators. I don't understand what he was thinking. Do I think that he lost the debate? I think it was a small margin victory for him, given the fact that in the second half of the debate, I think he finished a little better. And then his final statement for a conservative like me is like, yeah, no brainer. She's not going to do anything she says she's going to do. It's all a fluff and a lie. Are people going to somehow vote for Kamala Harris after watching the debate or not vote for Trump? No. Everybody that loves Trump is going to vote for him regardless. The American people have made their mind up. Do you want communism or do you want Donald Trump to come back and revive America for just 4 more years until we get some normal people in office? And I think that's what the conclusion ended up being. But it was horrifying for me to watch. I live streamed it and I regretted it. I wish I'd have just watched it on my own and then give commentary afterwards.
I was really disappointed in the performance last night from Donald Trump. And I know there are a lot of Trump supporters that don't want to hear me say that, and they're going to say he won no matter what. I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think that's honest to say. I think we have to be brutally honest, because I think we have to give Donald Trump honest feedback so that he can correct it, so that if there is another debate, which we're going to talk about, that he can perform better. But they baited him right and left, and he took it every single time. I think that she prepared for this. I think whoever prepared her said, this is exactly what you got to say to get Donald Trump's goat, and she got it and then some. And that, to me, was a big missed opportunity. You brought up the moderators. We all know that they were playing on the side of Kamala. They were actively debating Donald Trump. But for those who didn't catch it, let's play a little montage to refresh their memory.
She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. I'm talking now. Does that sound familiar?
You're not running against Joe Biden. You're running against me.
She's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
So that was not the sound of the moderators. That was the sound of Donald Trump, and maybe some of his funnier moments from last night. But I do want to play the correct soundbite from the actual moderators in their debate against Donald Trump.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community. The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here. President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges.
What did you think about that?
I literally want to cuss and break my TV when I was watching it, because it's just a sham to the American people. Let the two go out there and perform. And if Donald Trump fell on his face by himself, then that's what he did. In 2020, he fell on his face the first debate against Joe Biden. We can accept that. Let's work on it to get better. But they were actively working on behalf of Kamala Harris. They didn't question her on anything. The Charlottesville thing was a scam, and everybody knows it. Snopes did a fact check on it. They didn't even prepare anything against the things that she was saying. Infanticide and abortion after birth is 100% legal in a lot of different states. And we had, Donald Trump mentioned the former governor of Virginia, but he forgot his name. Northwood, I think is his name.
Ralph Northam, yeah.
Northam. He literally was on camera saying, we're going to take the baby, we'll set it aside, and we'll make a determination after that. He said that on camera. We're all in politics. We know it. We saw it. Everybody knows it. They could have fact-checked it. They did not. Kamala Harris didn't answer the biggest question of all, is that, are you better 3 years? Are you better now from 3 years ago? When she didn't answer that question, the moderators should say, yes or no. Are they better now? They didn't answer. They didn't care. They didn't even bring up that one of the biggest occurrences in American political history was Donald Trump's attempted assassination. They didn't even, they brought up January 6th.
Yep.
They didn't even bring up the assassination attempt. It was so biased, and Donald Trump underperformed so much that it just made me mad. Like, if I had enough hair like you, I'd have pulled hair out of my head. It was that bad.
I thought it was that bad as well. I mean, it was quite obvious that they were doing the work for Kamala Harris. And I think one of my favorite parts was towards the end when they basically told Donald Trump he was a racist. And then they gave Kamala Harris time to respond about how she felt about him being a racist. I was like, really now? We're going to ask her about her feelings? I mean, I understand that he made those stupid comments about questioning Kamala's race. And he never should have done that because he gave them fodder for all of this, which I was annoyed about. But my God, I mean, you're really going to ask what her feelings were on his insults about her, as if the American people really give a rip about that when they can't afford eggs at the grocery store. And that's another thing, too. They didn't ask her about inflation. They didn't ask her about Bidenomics. And I think that he really missed in his redirect on immigration because, of course, she didn't answer the question at all as to why she let 10 million plus in. She didn't answer what she's going to do with those people. But I'm wondering if the American people watching this, if they did fall enough for the performance of Kamala Harris. I know you think everybody's minds are made up, but there's going to be a slim margin of people that were watching last night wanting to get their answer and get some clarification. And I'm wondering if watching that performance is going to impact him negatively with those folks.
Yeah, Tommy, I agree with you on that. I just think that amount of people are inconsequential or is not as consequential because I watched some of the recap of certain people that watched the debate and they got the thoughts of them. And then many of them still supported Trump. So it makes me feel like when somebody has got their mind made up that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are a sham and they watch her performance. I mean, it's a performance. She literally rehearsed talking points and she did a good job at performing. But the American people really didn't get any answers, right? If you bought into the emotionalism and her gotcha moments and Donald Trump's failure, then you're not paying attention because if you're looking at the debate to say, okay, how is she going to bring down gas prices? How is she going to curb inflation? How are they going to stop the war? When they asked her about Israel, she had no response at how she's going to negotiate anything with Netanyahu. She refused to even meet with Netanyahu when he came to the United States while she's the VP. So if people are genuinely concerned and they were listening for her to give them some kind of peace, she did nothing but talking points. She didn't tell people how she's going to, well, you know, the education stuff when they're supposed to pay off student loan debt and that got shot down by the Supreme Court. What is she going to do about it? When legislation is brought to her desk and they asked her, are you going to limit any abortions? She didn't even answer the question. So if women are wondering, is she going to put any restriction on abortion? They're going to let abortion go all the way to term? She didn't answer that question for anybody. Immigration. Why didn't you stop immigration when you had an opportunity for 3 years? What are you actually going to do to stop immigration now? How are you going to fix or have immigration reform, which is on her website? How are you going to do it? You guys been in office 12 out of the last 16 years. Democrats don't have a solution either. They hammered Donald Trump on the fact he didn't have a solution to Obamacare. Yeah. They said, oh, just admit you don't have a solution. Well, she don't have a solution for immigration. And so it just, I don't know, it bothered me to no end. But I think if people were really looking for real solutions from either candidate, they got no, specifics on how are you going to actually accomplish these things? How are you going to not go over the deficit? By giving people free money or what Donald Trump says when it comes to tariffs. We need to talk about, is the tariffs going to negatively affect us? They should have pushed back on him a little bit on that so he can clarify that if you create a higher tariff, are people going to charge more money when they do their imports? So it's a lot of missed opportunities there, and I don't think either one of them gained legitimate ground. Now, points on vibes, maybe Kamala Harris got a little more vibes, but they didn't have no substantive arguments at all.
No, it really was a mess. It was chaotic. It didn't feel like it was on track at any point. And both of them, I think, went off the rails. Donald Trump more so than Kamala, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. I'm wondering why a question was asked about Kamala's past policies. And, the fracking, she kind of addressed, but she didn't actually address the fact that she did say she wanted to ban fracking. But here is her redirecting to some story about her childhood, which no one gives a damn about. Let's listen to this.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States.
So that's all she said. She was going to address all the points, but she never addressed any of the other points. It came out through her ACLU questionnaire that was resurfaced that she wants to pay for sex changes for detained migrants. And she's on record talking about mandatory gun buybacks. I mean, we have the tapes. So do you think, though, that's going to satisfy the people who in the New York Times Siena poll said they don't know enough about Kamala's policies?
I don't think it's going to satisfy it, because I think that people are interested in alternative media as well. Watching shows like yours and mine, they're going to get more of the truth. They go and watch these debates, which I did because I have to watch it to see what's going on. But at the end of the day, I think people are going to go back and listen to some of the recaps. If somebody's reasonable, they'll listen to the recap of Kamala Harris winning, and they'll listen to the recap of how Donald Trump was done wrong, and be able to come to a reasonable conclusion. On my show, we're going to prove very similarly how you did about what the moderators said and what Donald Trump said, and how the things that they moderated Donald Trump on were actually true. And all the lies that Kamala Harris told, the flip-flopping on our policies, the non-answering of questions, we got to put this stuff out there. So some people, I believe, that are still open-minded do listen to people like you and I. And I think that when we exploit the truth, not biased, I'm not covering for Donald Trump. If I was advising him, I'd be teed off that he did not properly prepare for the American people. So I'm not covering for him. But when I lay the facts out, I think that people are going to watch it and say, you know what? After looking back on it, they did lie. She has a video from her run in 2020, or, her run in the primary, saying that she's going to ban fracking. And they have that footage. You have it. I know you can play it if you wanted to. And the moderators knew that existed. They could have came out and said, well, wait a minute, Madam Vice President, you did say, and quote, that you are going to ban fracking. You have never come out to the public and said you weren't going to ban fracking. They could have come out and given the American people a balanced perspective, but they didn't. And
they could have asked why. We actually have some of those. Let's play the clip for those who haven't seen it.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
If someone crosses over the border, it's illegally, it is illegal, and you would decriminalize it.
I would not make it a crime punishable by jail.
His quest to build a vanity project called The Wall. This is irresponsible. It's the height of irresponsibility.
So we didn't get any questions on why. And you know what, it was so funny because the moderators actually answered the question for her, just like Dana Bash did on CNN. Well, we know that you said your values haven't changed. Okay, why, though, are you saying different things than you said in 2019? If you did change, then tell us why you changed your mind. Not one single question on that. And I don't know if she's going to be able to run from it, but unfortunately, a lot of people that just consume mainstream media, they might be bought and sold on this lie.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single Trump supporter that I know of that's saying, look, I'm not going to vote for Trump because of his poor performance. Donald Trump do crazy stuff all the time. And I think that for me as a voter, I'm looking at the totality of what both of these candidates represent. Donald Trump is going to make me mad and make me want to yell at his face now, and even if he's president. But at the end of the day, we're fighting against communism, and we're fighting for our country. Donald Trump only had 4 years. 4 years to try to save us from going right off the cliff. And that's what I think people should focus on. We got to pick the better of the two. Kamala Harris does not have policy. She's VP right now, and she sucks. Joe Biden sucks. She didn't answer anything. She's a liar. She can rehearse whatever she wants to rehearse, but she don't have a track record of doing anything right. And Donald Trump does. So I'm hoping that people say, you know what? I may not like Donald Trump's performance. He gets on my nerves sometimes, but I'm going to vote for him anyway until we can get somebody else I like better. That's pretty much what it is. A vote for them is a vote to go completely off the rails. I mean, they literally will have abortion all the way up to birth because they will go down the path of not being able to restrict anything. And I think that's horrible. Even Donald Trump, I don't agree with him, and I know me and you may disagree on the abortion thing, but Donald Trump at least said 15 weeks. These people want abortion on demand, abortion by appeals through the mail. And Tommy, this is the part that I don't like that they do. They're disingenuous about it. If they wanted women's health care, just say we want rights for women to have abortions on demand. That's all they have to say. Don't say women's reproductive rights, because women have the reproductive rights to actually have their baby too. Why is the focus just abortion? And the abortion pills that they send out, why don't they be honest about the fact that they're not monitoring the abortion pill very well? They don't check the age of these young women. They don't give them disclosures of what could happen to them. Like they can have literally abortion in their bathroom, which could be traumatizing, and they have to go to their bathroom every single day. They're not honest. If you want abortions, how about we make them less frequent, safe, and give people all the information that they need around it so they can make a proper decision for them and their family?
Well, I wish he would have answered that way. Unfortunately, he did not. And I think that they're going to ding him because he wouldn't answer the question on if he would veto a national abortion ban. He should have just answered it. He just should have said, it's never going to come to my desk, but if it were, I would veto it because I believe it belongs in the hands of the states. He didn't do that. It was an easy answer. It could have been a brief answer, but unfortunately,
even if he lied, Tommy, even if he lied, just tell them what they want to hear, buddy. You know they don't want to hear you not answer the question. At least say, yes, I would ban it because it doesn't belong in the government. And then when she goes, we don't want the government in a woman's health care. Well, ma'am, you're trying to pass it on a federal level. That's the government being involved in women's health care. God, Trump, why couldn't you just win? Tommy, why couldn't you debate her? I wish he would have let you debate her in his place. You could have subbed in and whooped her across the room. Goodness.
Well, here's the thing about that as well. Donald Trump, I don't think he helps himself when he goes on Truth Social and says it was his best debate ever in capital letters. Well, I don't understand. I mean, I do because it's Donald Trump. And he's always going to think he had the best of everything and the best night and the biggest and the greatest and the shiniest. But I think it's unfortunate that he went that route. And he's also saying that he will not necessarily commit to a second debate. The Kamala team wants a second debate. What do you think? Does he need to try this again, or is he better off just not putting himself in a position because he can't handle himself?
Well, let me say this. I don't know why. See, I think that he does target low information voters too. Even on our side, we got people that are they about smart as a rock. And when he say, I had the best debate ever, they're going to believe him. They're not going to watch it. And then they may watch a highlight tape and then they're not going to care about nothing. They're going to say, it was the best debate ever. And so he plays into his base as well. If you're not going to prepare for a freaking debate, don't debate. That's it. Donald Trump, if you're going to prepare and you're going to negotiate with a fair debate, meaning that you have some people from the right being part of the interview, you have a Joe Rogan or somebody that could be considered moderate, that can be a impartial moderator that can come after each candidate fairly and impartially. I think that he should do it. But if he's going to agree to another CNN, NBC, fake news host that absolutely hate him and hope that he dies, if you're going to agree to that and then you're not going to prepare, brother, just go on Truth Social and do your rallies. Because if you lose one more time close to the debate or you do poorly, you can really cost the election. So make your doggone mind up, Trump. And let me tell you this, Tommy, he's 70-something. I don't think he can do better than he did. I'm just being honest. I don't think he can. The man can't recall stuff like he should. When they asked him about the Central Park Five, Tommy, he didn't write an article about the Central Park. I read the article he took out in the newspaper. It even mentioned Central Park Five. Donald Trump got an award next to Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
And the Rainbow Coalition gave him an award for what he'd done in the black community. All the black leaders were there to support him. He had rappers under his armpit every time you turn around. Does he not remember his own success? Anyway,
well, they baited him. And I agree. I think he needed to prepare. I think that he needed to do what she did and actually spend a week really drilling down on the issues and having concise answers. But I'm not sure it would have mattered because I think that he performs that way. And I think it's worked for him in the past, but I don't think it's working for him anymore. And that's unfortunate. I have to ask about, I know you probably don't care about it, but I think it's going to matter to some people. The Taylor Swift endorsement. Obviously, this was canned. We knew that the Kamala Walls people are already selling friendship bracelets and all that BS. But I think to some people, it's going to matter. I know that, people think that her fan base is just little 12-year-old girls, but it's not. She's got a big fan base. She's filling stadiums around the world. It matters. And the people that are Gen Z that might not have voted, they might look at Taylor Swift as their messiah and they might go out and register and they might go out and vote. And so I'm a little concerned about it. And I'm wondering if you think it matters at all.
Yeah, it does matter. I mean, she has a tremendous platform and there are Swifties that are loyal to her. But I also believe that a lot of people get emotionally involved and invested, but they don't show up to vote. You could talk about the Christian population and the gun owners, all the people that are pro-gun, they don't show up to vote either. People, even Trump supporters, they'll show up at these rallies and cheer and Trump, 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 wear the shirt, have the flag. And somehow during the election, they don't show up. Yeah. You got to think, half of America don't even vote. And I would argue that more than half of America knows who Taylor Swift is. And I would argue that probably half of America, especially in a certain age demographic, they listen to her. So I think that her endorsement is no different than an endorsement of Elon Musk. You're going to get some people move the needle because of those endorsements, but the general public, they're not going to come out and vote. They're not going to Gen Z, they're not going to, especially kids that are in college, when their mail go to their parents' house, they're not going to vote and get involved like they should. But I will say this, Tommy, it's not a moot point. She's going to get people, even if it's 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, she's going to get people that are interested in her rhetoric. And so if she comes out and says, women everywhere that follow me, I need you to vote against them because they're going to, women have a miscarriage, going to go to prison. And I think it's enough influence that she can convince enough people to turn out just to vote for that issue. But on our side, we do have Elon Musk, adults that listen to RFK Jr. And I really do think that Donald Trump could come across the finish line successfully and overcome Taylor Swift's endorsement if Joe Rogan gives Donald Trump an interview and Donald Trump comes across as normal and a normal grandfather vibes like he did before in some of these other interviews. And if Joe Rogan comes out to endorse Donald Trump, I think that has more weight than Taylor Swift.
Well, I think that Joe Rogan's audience is much of the audience Donald Trump already has, and that's men. Donald Trump's not hurting with men. I don't know how many suburban moms listen to Joe Rogan. Maybe there are some. But before we go, I do have to get your thought on something that's completely unrelated to the debate, but I was very interested in your take on it, and that's the whole Tyreek Hill debacle. I have to know your take on this. I know what mine is, but I'm just going to let you go. First, I want to play this sound bite, and I want to get your reaction to all of it. Let's take a listen.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Give me your ass, bro.
Get out of the car.
Give me your ass, bro. Break that freaking window.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good.
Don't move.
Good. Bro, you beating on my window like you crazy.
I'm just being a black man, that's it. I'm just being black in America, bro. That's all it is.
We're dark too, brother. We're people of color too. Don't play like that.
I'm just being a black man in America, bro, in a nice car. That's it.
Thoughts?
It's worse than I thought it was. I didn't even hear that clip of him being that stupid. But, it's crazy to me because these people get young black men killed all the time. They are endorsing and promoting no accountability. First of all, none of the news outlets or anything explained that he was speeding and he was going super fast. He probably going like 80 miles per hour down that street, which is far beyond the speed that's allowed and probably legal as far as the criminal aspect of it. And then instead of Tyreek Hill, he got a $75 million guarantee contract. Instead of him being like, look, in the press conference, I got mad. I was late to work. I was speeding a little bit. Everybody speed. I'm in a McLaren 720S that probably got 1,000 horsepower. Can you imagine? I'm speeding. And I was a little upset. I didn't like how they would treat me, but I was speeding, and I apologize for my actions. That would have been a mature thing to say. Who cares? He got enough money to pay everybody ticket in Miami. So he could have went down that path. But no, the people of the melanin, they just have to be victims every turn. That man did everything wrong on a traffic stop. You're speeding, you don't roll your window down, you get into a confrontation, they tell you to get out, you refuse to get out, then you sit on the side and talk about your race. You're literally calling these men racist as they're detaining you for legitimate reasons. And then he get on a press conference, Tommy, and say, when they ask him, do you know why you're in handcuffs? I have no idea. I don't even know why. But then he goes to these mini camps and he's going to give a speech to these young black men. They're aspiring to be like him, to say, in America, if you black, you can be pulled over for no reason and killed. Tyreek Hill Nobody's going to kill you. And there's 1,000 black men that got Rolls Royces and Aston Martins and stuff in Miami. And they didn't get pulled over. Calais Campbell pulled up in a Rolls Royce that cost more than that McLaren. Did he somehow get arrested because he's black? It's mind-boggling to me that the media even protects this stuff. I wish that black men like him who are rich as F will mature a little bit and take accountability for their actions. They don't everybody loves him anyway. He scored a touchdown in the game. Like, can you mature at some point and say, look, I was wrong. I'm going to make it right with the law enforcement officers, give them some donuts or something and be a mature man. But instead, they play the victim until they die. A black man can be a trillionaire, and he's going to always be a victim the way our culture operates.
It really was also a missed opportunity, like you said. He could have said, listen, I think the cops were a little overzealous, but it was my bad for speeding. I shouldn't have done that. I wonder what would have happened if he was speeding and there was a little kid crossing the road or somebody else, and he maybe lost control of the vehicle, hit somebody on the sidewalk, and then you've got someone dead. There's a reason we have traffic laws, and there's a reason why you can't have reckless and go at reckless speeds. I don't care if you're late or whatever. And you know what? Listen, maybe the cops were a little overzealous, but they're tasked with protecting people's lives. And when you're driving at that kind of speed, you're putting people's lives in danger. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're black. I mean, you think they pulled him over? You can't even see in the windows. How the hell would they know he was black? And the one officer didn't even know who he was. And one officer was black. So it doesn't
and
make
the other
sense.
ones are like Hispanic. One of them are like Cuban or something. They had an accent. I'm like, can he even speak English? Is their second language? I mean, come on, Tommy. Like, I got pulled over before. I remember I was driving to Vegas in my big red truck, and I got back to blue signs on my truck. My license plate say black cop. I'm flying. I see the cop, and I pull over. I knew I was got. I saw him. I said, oh, he got me. He still gave me a ticket, and I thanked him for his service. Tommy, I knew I was flying. I made a plan that I was going to start flying when I left Phoenix. I'm going to go until I see a cop. Why do people got to be fake, man? And because I was nice, he didn't arrest me because I was going fast. I think I was going like 90 something. And he said, look, I'm just going to give you a ticket for speeding. I make enough money to pay for that little ticket. I just paid for it. He make way more money than me. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And I wonder, I don't know what it is about young black men, maybe the culture or whatever, that they are just absolutely delusional about reality. And I wish it was different.
And unfortunately, it perpetuates a really dangerous narrative. And not only that, but I think about the law enforcement officers now who are once again in the spotlight and calling people, oh, these officers should be fired. This man's making multi-million dollars. He was speeding. And then the officers do their job and pull him over. And all of a sudden, the officers should be fired. Once again, law enforcement bad. I'm just so tired of the narrative. But I appreciate you for sounding off on it. And I appreciate always you taking the time to give your honest reactions. You know, sometimes we piss off people on both sides, but I guess it means we're doing something right. Brandon, thank you so much for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tommy. Great show.
Thanks. That does it for this episode of Tomi Lahren is Fearless. It's still going to be a very long rest of the week, but make sure you stay tuned tomorrow, again, live at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will give you my losers of the week and also a great show ahead for the rest of the days. God bless you all. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. We would certainly appreciate your support. Also, you can find all of my episodes on our home on Fox Nation. From Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.